So, hi everyone, I'm Chevelle, and this is Have Your Way, Lord Devotional. And I am shooting from the Everglades, like a little overpass on the Sawgrass Expressway in South Florida, Coral Springs. And it's like the edge, the very edge, not really the Everglades, but it's the beginning. And I'm having a walk and I'm having some quiet time, and what I mean by that is I'm just seeking the Lord. I'm just praying and listening for Him, and I'm having a really profound revelation that I've been having all day of something He said, and I just wanted to share. I'm not even at the end of the revelation and just how big it really is and what it really means, but maybe this will unravel something for somebody. And it's got to do with suffering. It has to do with suffering, and it's basically about the cost of a life. I've asked the Lord before, I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago, about the cost of a life. There are so many faith stories, so many testimonies of people that have surrendered their life, just sacrificed their life so that someone else can hear the gospel, that someone else can be saved. That's how important salvation is. That somebody would willingly surrender their life, be beaten to death, be beheaded, be persecuted, be outed, have their whole family murdered for the sake of Christ. And I've asked Him about the cost of life before. There's certain stories I've heard, and I said to the Lord, I don't know if that's fair. Something about it doesn't feel fair to me that one person dies and everybody else, okay, they get to hear the gospel, but Lord, couldn't you have done it some other way? Couldn't there be an easier way? Like, what happened to that person's life? Don't they matter? Don't their peace of mind matter? Don't them believing you to help them matter? Like, that rattled me and it bothered me. And I am not naive. So I'm not naive to how this kind of resembles Jesus Christ. I understood that much. That, Lord, is kind of ironic because that's exactly what the Savior did. That's exactly what your one begotten Son did, is that He was willing to surrender His life, to count it all lost, to do your will. He was willing to say, not my will but yours be done, that I will allow myself to be murdered for you, to be sacrificed. I've done nothing wrong. It's not fair, but I desire for every single one of them to be saved, that they don't have to die an eternal death, never knowing who God is, never really knowing the love of God, that is so big that it saves, that it's merciful, that it doesn't require you to be a perfect individual before you can come to Him, that He was perfect enough for you and Him. And I wasn't naive to that, but something about my heart, I don't know if it's my own flesh, my own not wanting to die, not wanting to feel like, Lord, what about me? You know, what about my hopes and dreams? What about me? And I ended up being in an interesting situation where, I feel like I had to walk it out to really learn something about this. And I won't get too far into that, but something the Lord said to me today is about that proverb, or that parable rather, in the New Testament. That parable in the New Testament about the seed that has to die. And Jesus was talking about Himself, the seed that has to first die in the ground before it can be rebirthed and something new can shoot up from the ground, so a plant can grow. The seed, the shell of the seed actually has to crack open and let what's inside come out, like your spirit, like your body has to die, and there has to be a resurrection, and that's the resurrection of Christ. And He was basically prophesying about it. But at one point He says, there's another tale that's talking about the seed that sows, that reaps good fruit, and some seed reaps, let's say, 60-fold or 80-fold, and some reap 100-fold. And I remember hearing that since I was young, and I was like, Lord, I want to be the one that reaps 100-fold fruit, like 100-fold. And I think today he was saying to me, that's the cost of a life. Each person has the ability, their purposes and plans inside of you. Each person has the ability to reach other people. Like when you're going through something, sometimes it's not just about you. Sometimes it's not just for you. Sometimes you went through that thing for you and somebody else. Maybe there are 10 other people that are going to go through the exact same thing you're going to go through, and they need to know that they can make it. That there's a way that God won't leave them in the middle of it. That they will survive. That they will survive. That's the power of someone's testimony. It's not just for you. What you went through, the trial that you went through, the trauma, that thing that happened to you that you kept secret all this time, my God, sometimes it's actually meant for somebody else that's still going through what you came out of. Just like a cancer survivor, their story empowers other people to press forward. That the odds are against you, but hey, the odds don't mean anything. You can still push through. You can still fight. That person that survives rape, that lives with it and struggles with it, and somehow learns how to love and forgive somebody else that hurt them and doesn't even care about the forgiveness. Like that person that struggles with a bad past, that they've hurt people and they feel condemned and feel like they could never get over the guilt and sorrow, but they felt a peace and a forgiveness from God that only God could give them, and they realize that you can come out of it, you can change, you can be a better person. That person that survives addiction, that thing that just kills hope. Because every time you think you're out, you fall back in. Like your testimony is for somebody else. And the Lord was saying to me, Chevelle, that's the cost of a life. It's worth more. It's worth like 100 lives, because at the end of the day, you're connected to everybody else. Your life is important to Him. It's worth everything to Him because it's connected. You matter just as much as the other person, and and your story matters, because at the end of the day, so much can come from it. So many lives can be saved from one person. So many testimonies could be birthed out of one person's struggle. Like, it matters to Him, and the cost of a life is dear. It's dear. Be the person that's 100-fold, that brings in, that says, Lord, I will surrender. I will be willing to sacrifice myself. I will be willing to say your will and not mine be done. Because at the end of the day, I don't just want a few people to be helped. I don't just want, okay, well, this is as far as I'm going to go, God. I'm not going to really let you have full control. I want 100-fold. I want as many people as you intended to be blessed. I don't want to waste any of this pain. I don't want to waste it because it hurt a lot. And if somebody doesn't have to hurt as much as I did, then I feel a little bit better. So that's kind of the revelation I'm having, and it's still going. So I'm praying that it blesses somebody. God bless you. And this is Have Your Way, Lord Devotional. Like, share. Somebody else needs to hear this. And definitely write a comment. Bye.